Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video thumbs up. According to The Bold and the Beautiful, B&B spoilers on Monday, March 16th, Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, and Katie Logan Spencer, Heather Tom, will have to defend themselves against the Forresters. Katie may need to utilize her public relations experience to mitigate the fallout from the arrival of Eric Forrester, John McCook, Brooke Logan Forrester, Catherine Kelly Lang, and Ridge Forrester, Torsten K. Brooke told Katie that she would regret going against her desires and presented a proclamation of war. Brooke is clearly enraged, so she is going to take a tough stance against Katie and the brand she is attempting to develop. Katie may lose control of the Logan launch once design theft claims are leveled. Whatever the situation, Bill will defend Katie in front of the influencers, news reporters, and anybody else who is looking for an answer. Katie may believe that B&B was a complete catastrophe, while Bill may argue that the exposure will still work in their advantage. Perhaps Bill will believe that by being the underdogs, they can rally support against the Forresters. However, that may be wishful thinking, as Bill and Katie will be unable to enlist their own son's help. Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, will have a confrontation with his parents following the tragedy, so Katie and Bill will have to answer for what they did to Eric. Nonetheless, Bill will dig in his heels when it comes to Logan owning Eric's ideas. You can't take something that already belongs to you, thus Bill will believe those designs were theirs to proceed with. Bill may claim that Will should be unhappy with Eric for breaking their pledges. The same is true for Ridge and Brooke, who are attempting to interfere with Katie's fashion company plans. Bill may persuade Will to exhibit some family devotion and cease acting like a Forrester instead of a Spencer. When Will returns to work at Forrester Creations later, R.J. Forrester, Brian Nicoletti, will remind him that he has Spencer blood in his veins. R.J. will think Will is just as bad as his father, but Will not allow R.J. drive him out of the firm. According to The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Will and R.J. will have more clashing sessions, so stay tuned. The busy ballroom of the posh Los Angeles venue buzzed with expectation as Katie Logan Spencer stood backstage, her pulse beating beneath the exquisite blue jacket she had picked for the occasion. Logan Fashion House was finally making its premiere, and the air was dense with the aroma of new flowers, costly perfumes, and the slight metallic taste of camera equipment being set up for the press conference. Katie had thrown her heart and mind into this endeavor, using her public relations experience and strong familial ties to the Logan brand. Bill Spencer, her spouse and financial supporter, had been her rock during every late-night brainstorming session and passionate dispute. Today was intended to be a success, a celebration of the Logans' freedom from the Forrester empire, which had sometimes eclipsed them. But as the lights dropped and the first models began to stroll down the improvised runway, displaying the sleek, elegant outfits inspired by Eric Forrester's hidden designs, the mood changed. Katie anticipated criticism. She and Bill had used Eric's drawings from his brief but important cooperation with her before returning to Forrester Creations. Bill insisted they owned them fairly and squarely, having paid Eric generously and acquired the rights in writing, or so he said. Katie had her concerns, but ambition and a drive to establish her own legacy had won over. She smiled slightly as the audience of influencers, fashion experts, and reporters murmured their appreciation. Bill appeared alongside her, towering and powerful in a fitted black suit, his characteristic sword necklace glinting in the spotlights. "This is your moment, Katie," he said quietly and confidently. "Let them see what the Logans can do without the Forresters pulling the strings." Katie nodded and squeezed his hand. She had always been the calmer one, the go-between in their mixed family, but tonight she felt the weight of every previous betrayal, every time Brooke had chosen Ridge above her sisters, and every snub from the Forrester clan. This unveiling was more than just fashion, it was a declaration of war in the ongoing Spencer-Forrester conflict. Initially, the concert ran nicely. The gowns flowed with effortless grace, with flowing silks in soft pastels, sophisticated tailoring, and bright embellishments that highlighted Eric's ageless creativity. Admiration was whispered across the gathering. "Logan is going to shake things up," one blogger scribbled furiously onto her phone. Katie's PR instincts kicked in as she prepared to take the stage for the Q&A session, ready to answer questions about the brand's goal and her collaboration with Bill. The doors in the rear of the ballroom then opened with a dramatic flair that only the Forresters could manage. Ridge Forrester walked in first, his chiseled jaw set in wrath, followed by Brooke Logan Forrester and an obviously worried Eric Forrester. The group advanced with determination, ignoring the ushers who attempted to stop them. Gasps rang as cameras swiveled to record the incident. Ridge's voice echoed around the room, piercing through the music like a scalpel. "Stop this charade right now," he said, his accent rising with rage. "Those designs are not yours to showcase. Eric created them for Forrester Creations, not some knockoff Logan vanity project." Brooke rushed forward, her golden hair cascading perfectly despite the haste, eyes full of passion. "Katie, how could you? After everything we've been through as sisters? You're using our father's work, my husband's father's work, to launch this betrayal? I warned you. I told you you'd regret crossing us." Eric appeared devastated, his hands quivering slightly as he motioned toward the runway. "Katie, those sketches were personal. They were experiments, ideas I shared in confidence during our time working together. I never intended for them to be stolen and paraded like this." The room burst in turmoil. Reporters yelled questions, lights flashed constantly, and the models paused in mid-pose, wondering whether to continue or escape. Katie's face became pale, but she immediately regained her composure, drawing on years of experience dealing with media storms. This was precisely what she had feared, the crashers turning her well-planned celebration into a circus. However, she was not about to give up. Bill was already in motion. He entered the stage with the confidence of a guy who thrived on conflict. "Ladies and gentlemen, it appears we have some uninvited guests from the Forrester camp," he said, his tone dripping with contempt. "But let's set the record straight. These designs belong to Logan Fashion House. We acquired them legally, paid for them, and Eric here willingly collaborated with Katie. If anyone's stealing, it's the Forresters trying to claim ownership over something they abandoned." Ridge laughed angrily, pushing through security to get closer to the stage. "Abandoned? Eric was lured away with promises, then you twisted it into this. Bill, you've always been a bully with deep pockets, but this is low even for you. Humiliating my father in public? Using his legacy to prop up your wife's failing dreams." Katie walked to Bill's side, her voice calm as she addressed the audience. "Everyone, please calm down. Logan is about innovation and honoring the past while building a new future. Eric's contributions were invaluable, but the rights are clear. We have documentation, and we're happy to discuss it privately after the show. This interruption is unnecessary and disrespectful to the hard work of our team." But Brooke wouldn't have it. She approached the stairs to the stage, her shoes clicking fiercely. "Disrespectful? You're the one disrespecting family, Katie. These dresses should be at Forrester, not here. Buyers will see this for what it is, a cheap imitation. Mark my words, this launch will crash and burn because of your greed." The tension crackled like electricity. Eric pleaded calmly with Katie, his eyes reflecting disappointment rather than wrath. "I trusted you, Katie. We created those in good faith. Please, don't let this divide us further." Bill interrupted, raising his voice to drown out the protesters. "Divide? The only division here is the one the Forresters have enforced for years. Katie built this from the ground up, with my support. If you want to crash our party, fine, but the world is watching, and they'll see the Logans standing tall against the Forrester monopoly." As the fight heated up, influencers live-streamed each furious encounter. Hashtags like #LoganLaunchDrama and #ForresterCrashers started trending right away. Katie's public relations brain went into overdrive. She knew damage management was critical. She motioned for the music to continue gently in the background and urged the journalists to ask direct questions, characterizing the interruption as passionate industry debate rather than blatant sabotage. A reporter pressed a microphone forward. "Mr. Spencer, how do you respond to claims of design theft?" Bill grinned, leaning into the microphone with his usual assurance. "Theft? That's laughable. We own these designs outright. Eric was compensated generously, and if he has regrets now, that's on him for flip-flopping back to Ridge's control. Logan isn't stealing, we're innovating. And if the Forresters want to make this personal, bring it on. The Spencers have never backed down from a fight. Ridge's face became hot, and he poked a finger at Bill. You always did love playing the hero, Dollar Bill. But this isn't about money or power. It's about family and respect. Eric's legacy isn't a bargaining chip for your ego. Brooke turned to Katie, her voice falling to a sisterly hiss that the microphone still picked up. We've fought before, but this? This could end us as sisters. Think about what you're doing to our family. Katie felt a stab in her chest. Brooke's comments cut deep. The Logan sisters had survived storms before, but fashion rivalries could cut deep. Nonetheless, she held her ground. Brooke, I love you, but this is my dream. Logan represents independence for me, and for our name. If you can't support that, then maybe it's time we accepted our differences. The Crashers persisted, casting a shadow over the remaining presentations. Models continued to stroll among the murmuring, but the mood had switched from exhilaration to scandal. Katie worked the room thereafter, smiling for pictures and telling clients that the collection was genuine and innovative. Bill hovered protectively, occasionally throwing barbs at Ridge, which made the elder guy furious. In one heated sidebar away from the main throng, Bill cornered Ridge near the bar. Admit it, Forrester. You're just jealous that Katie's building something real without your name attached. Humiliating you? That's just a bonus. Ridge responded. You'll regret this, Spencer. Forrester Creations has survived bigger threats than your wallet. Eric, meantime, drew Katie away momentarily. I never meant for it to come to this. Those sketches, they were for us, for exploration. Seeing them here, twisted into a weapon, it's painful. Katie's eyes softened. Eric, I never wanted to hurt you. But Bill believes in this, and so do I. Maybe one day you'll see it as a tribute. As the event came to an end, the Crashers exchanged parting shots, with Brooke pledging to mobilize the industry against Logan and Ridge offering legal inquiry. Katie exhaled shakily as the doors closed behind them. That was a disaster, she mumbled to Bill as the ballroom emptied. Bill drew her closer, his arm around her waist. Disaster? Honey, that's free publicity. Tomorrow, every fashion site will be buzzing about Logan versus Forrester. Sympathy will pour in for the underdog Logans fighting the big bad empire. We'll turn this into gold. Katie wanted to trust him, but uncertainty plagued her. Her public relations talents had mitigated the immediate consequences, but the long-term harm to relationships, particularly with Brooke, loomed big. Nonetheless, when they exited the venue hand in hand, she felt a sense of defiance. The Logans were daring, and today they demonstrated that they could fight back. The family encounter took place later that afternoon in Bill's sleek Spencer Publications office, which looked out over the metropolitan skyline. Will Spencer stormed through the doors, his youthful face etched with rage. He had learned about the launch pandemonium through messages from colleagues at Forrester Creations, where he worked as a rising executive. As Bill and Katie's kid, he was stuck in the middle, and he was unhappy about it. Mom, Dad, what the hell were you thinking? Will shouted, throwing a tablet onto the desk that featured viral videos of the collision. Using Eric's designs? Crashing and burning the event with Ridge and Brooke storming in? Do you know how this looks for me at work? Steffi and Ridge are already side-eyeing me because of you too. Katie collapsed into a leather chair, her exhilaration fading to fatigue. Will, sweetheart, it's not that simple. Those designs were part of my collaboration with Eric. We have rights to them. Bill, ever the stubborn father, crossed his arms and faced his son squarely. You can't steal something you own, Will. Logan paid for those sketches. Eric walked away from the project, his choice. If Ridge and Brooke want to play victim, that's on them. We're building something here, and family loyalty means standing with us, not running to the Forresters like a lapdog. Will's eyes flared with rage. Loyalty? Dad, you're humiliating Ridge again, like it's some game. And Mom, you're stuck in the middle, going along with this. Eric is practically family to everyone in this town. This could ruin my career before it even starts. How long do you think Steffi will keep me around if you two keep poking the bear? Katie stretched out, her voice soft yet forceful. Will, I hate that you're caught in this. I never wanted to fight with you. But Logan is important to me. It's my chance to stand on my own after years of being in the shadows. Your father believes in it, and I do too. Can't you see it from our side? Bill took a step closer, his tone becoming more demanding. Listen, son. The Spencers don't apologize for winning. Eric abandoned those promises when he ran back to Ridge. Brooke and Ridge interfered because they can't stand anyone succeeding outside their little kingdom. Stop acting like a Forrester and remember who you are. Blood is blood, show some backbone. The fight went on, with voices rising and falling in the large office. Will paced, gesticulating madly as he described the murmurs at Forrester that morning. RJ already cornered me, calling me out for being your son. He said I'm despicable, just like you, Dad. And, honestly, with stunts like today's Launch Crasher showdown, he's not entirely wrong. Katie cringed at the mention of her nephew RJ, Brooke's kid with Ridge. The family tree was a convoluted web of relationships, and Will's position at Forrester made every Spencer move a potential minefield. She attempted to mediate, reminding Will of the wider picture. Logan's potential success might help everyone in the long run, but her words rang hollow amidst the stress. Bill remained unfazed and doubled down. Humiliating Ridge today? That was the highlight. He thinks he owns this town. Watching him storm in like a bull only to get shut down by facts? Priceless. Will, if you let them chase you out of Forrester, you're letting them win. Stand tall. Fight back like a Spencer. Will shook his head, his aggravation building. This isn't just about you two. It's about me trying to build my own path. Mom's launch might be bold, but it's dragging us all into the mud. Katie felt the emotional toll as the sun dipped lower, throwing golden light through the floor-to-ceiling windows. She adored her kid and despised watching the gap expand. Yet Bill's fire had always been part of what drew her to him, the fearless guardian who never gave up. Today, her bravery had protected her ambition, even if it meant disagreeing with relatives. Meanwhile, at Forrester Creations, the aftermath reverberated throughout the design offices. Will arrived to his desk to see R.J. Forrester waiting, arms crossed and wearing a smug yet furious smile. The two young men, cousins via the convoluted Logan Forrester Spencer web, had never been close, but today's events had sparked open enmity. Nice family show at the launch, Spencer, R.J. sneered, leaning against Will's desk. Your dad making a fool of my grandfather and my parents? Classy. You're just like him, always stirring up trouble for a quick buck or ego boost. Will straightened and refused to be intimidated. RJ, back off. I didn't ask for any of this. I'm here to work, not play referee in your parents' wars. If you have a problem with my family, take it up with them. But don't think you can chase me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. RJ laughed without humor. Chasing you out? Please. You're the one whose parents are stealing designs and crashing events like amateurs. Electra's already dealing with enough drama. Don't drag her into your mess either. The name of Will's most recent ex, Electra Forrester, added fire. Their split had been acrimonious, affected by external factors, and RJ's interest in her was no secret. Will responded, Electra's none of your business anymore. And if you're using this as an excuse to get close to her, that's low. My parents own what they own. Get over it. The animosity simmered, with sharp jabs and veiled threats. Will held firm, reflecting his father's resistance, but RJ continuously reminded him that his Spencer blood was a mark against him. Colleagues looked around suspiciously, as the workplace was abuzz with the same controversy that had overshadowed the launch. Katie and Bill debriefed in a quiet part of the Logan event site as the cleanup teams worked. Despite the pandemonium, Bill poured a congratulatory drink for them both. We struck back today, Katie. Those crashers thought they could derail us, but we turned the tables. The publicity will explode, in our favor. Katie drank her wine, pondering on the day's events. From the exquisite runway to the violent disruptions, from defending her vision to confronting her son's disappointment, it had been a roller coaster ride. I hope you're right, Bill. But Brooke, that look in her eyes. This might have broken something between us for good. Bill kissed her forehead. Families fight. Logan's and Forrester's especially. But you were magnificent out there, damage control queen. Logan is launched, and the world knows it now. Tomorrow brings new battles, but we'll face them together. As darkness set over Los Angeles, the fashion industry was abuzz with news of the Logan launch crashers. Videos of Bill belittling Ridge went viral, Katie's composed comments gained acclaim for grace under duress, and the design disagreement prompted discussions about ownership and legacy. Will, divided between worlds, sent his parents a hesitant olive gesture, while RJ planned his next move at Forrester. The bold and the beautiful's never-ending story of love, treachery, and ambition continued with Bill and Katie's daring attack, guaranteeing that the launch, despite the crashers, would not be forgotten. Repercussions would follow, legal threats, tried and failed sisterly reconciliations, and developing youthful rivalries. But for the time being, Katie permitted herself to dream bigger in the light of defiance. Logan was more than simply a brand, it was a message. In this community, assertions were usually accompanied with a price. Katie's argument with Will stayed in her mind as she and Bill drove home that night. She repeated his words, noting the pain in his voice. As a mother, she questioned if the launch was worth jeopardizing their relationship. Bill, feeling her distress, consoled her with anecdotes about his own childhood rebellions against authority. He'll come around. Spencers are fighters. This will make him stronger. Brooke walked the living room of the Forrester estate, telling Ridge and Eric about what had happened that day. Katie crossed a line today. Using Dad's designs like that, it's personal. I won't let her destroy what we've built. Ridge nodded, his arm around her. Bill got his moment of humiliation, but we'll have the last laugh. Forrester will respond in kind. Eric sat there, drawing absently, his heart burdened. The partnership with Katie had once been real, serving as a bridge between families. It was now in ruins, collateral damage from the broader fight. Younger strands were also woven into the tapestry. At Forrester, Electra grappled with the news of Dylan's new position, her rage toward Will's group boiling over. Daphne and Ivy exchanged furious words about interfering with relationships, adding layers to the young drama that mirrors the adults' feuds. By the end of the night, the city lights twinkled like the sequins on the contested gowns. Bill and Katie's response not only defended their launch, but also sparked new controversies that would dominate conversations for weeks. In soap opera fashion, resolutions were fleeting, and the brave always rose to strike again. Katie lay awake next to Bill that night, looking at the ceiling, adding to the emotional depth. She was filled with memories of her youth with Brooke and Donna, of marriages and heartbreaks, and of finding strength in independence. The launch had been her declaration of self, but the crasher's appearance forced her to realize how linked their lives remained. Bill, she finally said, what if Will's right? What if this costs us more than we gain? Bill turned, his gaze serious in the faint light. Then we fight harder. I've built an empire on not backing down. You deserve this, Katie. We deserve it. His comments calmed her and strengthened her determination. Damage control calls would begin in the morning, with interviews to recast the story and discussions with possible purchasers who were unaffected by the turmoil. Logan would persevere, demonstrating perseverance. Meanwhile, Will met with a friend late at night, complaining about his terrible situation. My dad's a bulldozer, and Mom's caught up in it. RJ's on my case constantly now. How do I navigate this without losing everything? The buddy suggested neutrality, but Will realized it was a luxury in this environment. Loyalty lines were painted with strong ink. In his own area, RJ texted Electra about the day's events, carefully pitching himself as a solid alternative to Will's tumultuous family. The competition was more than simply professional, it was also personal, with love undercurrents. As the clock crept past midnight, the events of March 16th became legendary in fashion circles. Bill's humiliation of Ridge became anecdotal evidence, Katie's composure a crisis management model, and the Crashers' daring incursion a reminder that no launch was ever truly private among Los Angeles' elite. Logan Fashion House's tale had only just begun, born of fire and controversy, with Bill and Katie at the forefront, hitting back against everyone who dared to confront them. Family relationships are strained yet intact, and goals clash like waves on the Pacific beach. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, such days were not the conclusion, but rather the beginning of larger tragedies to come. Consider the bigger canvas to fully understand the impact of the tale. Fashion buyers, initially influenced by the controversy, began to get confidential assurances from Katie's staff. Some left Forrester out of curiosity, while others remained faithful, resulting in a fragmented market that promised continued rivalry. Social media accentuated every viewpoint, with fans celebrating the Logans as new voices and others criticizing the design's ethics. Katie planned a follow-up news briefing for the next day, painstakingly crafting comments emphasizing innovation above ownership concerns. Bill spent the evening reviewing legal paperwork, preparing to oppose any litigation Ridge could file. Will, meanwhile, had a difficult meeting with Steffi at Forrester, who promised him that his parents' actions would not influence his role, yet. The yet weighed heavy, pressing him to show his value on his own. RJ and Will's next encounter was unavoidable, possibly in the design studio, where drawings and samples became battlegrounds for words. "Your family's drama is polluting the air here," RJ may say, to which Will would respond with recollections of Forrester's own troubled past. Electra's argument with Dylan added another dimension, as the new hire's entrance sparked jealousy and suspicions about the split. "You had no right inserting yourself," Electra may claim, while Dylan defends her new beginning. Daphne's revelations regarding Ivy's participation in Will and Electra's breakup threatened to burst, with Ivy denying any involvement even as proof accumulated. These subplots blended smoothly with the main launch drama, adding to the episode's tapestry. In essence, the Monday events embodied the show's major themes: love versus ambition, familial loyalty tested by treachery, and the unending search of legacy. Bill and Katie's retaliation wasn't just defensive, it was a strong declaration that the Logans would no longer play second fiddle. As the story progressed, one could image the weeks that followed. Katie repairing wounds with Brooke over teary lunches that turned into fights, Bill arguing with Ridge in boardrooms, while navigating two worlds with increasing maturity. The launch crashers became a watershed moment, remembered as the day Logan actually appeared on the world, not with peaceful elegance, but with explosive drama to match its name. Katie's public relations ability was evident in subtle ways, such as leaking favorable reviews and arranging influencer endorsements that emphasized the garment's beauty rather than the controversy. Bill's financial strength assured that the brand had the wherewithal to withstand any boycott attempts. In quiet moments, Eric returned to his old designs, wondering whether collaboration might ever be restored. Brooke journaled her emotions, digesting the sisterly split with a combination of rage and nostalgia. The 3,000-word account of this one day's events demonstrates the many emotional, professional, and family links that keep such stories engaging. From the sparkling runway to the heated office confrontations, from public humiliation to private misgivings, Bill and Katie's fight against the Forrester Crashers marked a chapter of perseverance and retribution.